There are many different ways that I've seen teams react to losing, and Argentina may have reacted the worst that I have ever seen because, and it's not even just at the end of the game either. This Argentinian team was unacceptable, in my opinion. The way that they handled losing, the way that they were acting, and the way that they carried themselves, right? In this game, it was kind of a microcosm of what has been over the last like 4 years, where you have, in this game, just physical play, you have the whining, you have all that stuff. But I think what goes over the edge, and I'm going to get very heated because there's nothing that irks me more than teams and players who talk so much trash, but just cannot handle when it's thrown back in their face. Because you know, in my opinion, and I think in the majority of people's opinions, if you want to talk as much trash as you want to, you should be able to handle it, right? Like, at least for me, I I'm a big trash talker. Like, if I'm playing basketball against people, if I'm doing whatever, right? I like to talk trash, right? If you lose, you have to hear the other end of it, right? And Argentina could not handle that, right? I mean, even going back 4 years ago when they beat the Netherlands in a game that a lot of people think was rigged, I personally don't view that to be the case. But you have, even in a post game interview, right? You have Messi going, "Que miras, bobo," which basically what that translates to is like, "What are you looking at, dummy?" And that type of thing. Where it's like, dude, you're in an interview. Like, be a little bit more professional than that. I understand, right, that the Netherlands, they also were playing very physical and all that, but like, come on, be serious. And you have that interview and that clip going back 4 years. You have that carrying over now. You have the cases of just being physical for no reason. You have the cases of um instances where you can just get a little bit of a shove in, whatever. And the way that this team, the way that this just it irked me because I really like Lionel Messi, right? I like some of the players here. I like Lautaro Martinez, right? I like Julian Alvarez. Please come to Barcelona. But I like all of that. And you have the gall, the gumption to not only just fight with the refs over every single thing while you are getting away with a lot, right? They push the boundaries. And what makes it so tough when you play against Argentina is that the officiating in it is so difficult to officiate, right? Because they will be physical. The yellow card standard that they have and versus everyone else, because they are so much more physical than everyone, where it's like, okay, that's not the like how do you officiate it? You don't want to give a yellow like 30 seconds into the game, and you just have instances like you have Leandro Paredes, who he checks in, and you have him as soon as he comes in, just like shoving people. Right? You have a bad play that results in Rodri, going down and selling the contact which he received, rightfully so, and you then just have Paredes just shove him to the ground or shove Danny Olmo to the ground after pushing him twice, which that's not great. But not only do you have that, you then have on headers where Argentinians would not jump for it, but rather just do this, to where as soon as that Spanish defender lands, it is right here. And on most people, on basically everyone, this is firm, going right into the spine. That hurts, right? On, I believe it was a shot attempted from, I believe, Pedri. They just full on shoved him in the back, right, as he's going to shoot. You had the case of on the goal that was disallowed. You are able to play with so much physicality and that gets called off. Like, are you kidding me? You then have this. This is where I'm going to get really heated. You lose a World Cup final, right? There are ways you handle it. And I'm not even saying oh, you go over and shake everyone's hand. I'm not even asking for that. Like, if you want to go and you still want to talk trash, you know what? Respect to you for still doing that even when you lose. But instead of either getting off the field or whatever, you are getting in fights with players. You are just shoving people. Like, you are just being ridiculous and unacceptable at a high level, right? You have Enzo Fernandez, which this entire tournament, he has been getting away with some very aggressive play. And, he's getting on the official, right? And I'm not going to act like I know specifically what he said, right? But you have it to where the most blatant a bare minimum yellow card. Like, that was an orange card foul on Pau Kubarsi. Dirty, dirty, in my opinion. That is not just a dangerous. That is a dirty play, right? And you're doing that in big moments, and you cost your team, right? All of that. You have every single header you are going to try to injure the opposing players, right? On Lamine Yamal, you grab him with both shoulders, you kick his feet out from under him, and you drag him to the ground, and that isn't called for a foul. Or that isn't called for a yellow. Like, Argentina, if you want to play physical, do not flop when contact comes your way. Don't. Because that just makes you absolutely hated amongst people. And yeah, a lot of people were rooting for Spain to win this game. A lot of people. Because if you are a team that can just be as physical as you want, but the moment that, like, even a butterfly lands on you, it's, oh! Yeah, obviously people aren't going to love that, right? It's annoying to watch. That is something that, like, if I was on, like, the team, I would be doing, because I don't have the talent for that, right? I don't have the talent to actually play. You weren't playing soccer. You were just going out there to just rage bait the whole time. And what's funny enough is, for the team that rage baits everyone more than anyone at this World Cup, you never saw England act that way. Egypt, the worst thing they did was call out the officiating and how it could have been rigged, right? You have all of these teams who you have been just annoying, irritating, physical, and beating up on, and the moment a team even plays somewhat near what you do, and not even like super duper near either, like maybe a quarter of the way, you freak out, you lose your mind, you just go crazy, and you just, like, get in fights after it. Like, are you kidding me? This is a World Cup final. After the game, you lost, right? Again, I'm not even going to say you have to be buddy with them and, like, even shake hands. Like, I'm not even asking for that. But I'm not asking you to clothesline somebody. I'm not asking for one of your coaches to get involved. I'm not asking for you to go after an opposing coach. Like, what Leandro Paredes did is disgusting. It is disgusting behavior. And it is unacceptable to have on the world's biggest stage. And I think that this entire Argentinian side, on the most part, should be absolutely ashamed of themselves as people, because this is unacceptable to have when you are playing, again, in one of the biggest games that the world will ever see in a World Cup final. Unacceptable. They need to be better. This is shameful. There's a difference between passion and aggression. This was aggression. You can be passionate all you want, but if you are fighting people, if you are throwing punches, if you are dragging people to the ground, if you are pushing people for protecting their teammate, that's where it draws a line. That line was crossed so far, I'm getting so heated that I'm struggling to find words here. That line in the sand was crossed so many moons ago. And it's not surprising that people were rooting for Spain, because if you act like this, yeah, you're going to get hated. But don't wonder why people are hating you. Don't wonder why, it doesn't seem as though, like, Spanish players want to be buddy with you. Like, don't act like that's a foreign concept, right? You then, on top of, like, all of the stuff that I've mentioned here, you still had a chance too. Which, what I think is the worst thing about this is that it sets a precedent that it is okay, and that it can contribute to winning. And I want this to be sniffed out as quickly as possible, because if you are allowed to just be the most physical team, and that allows you to just win games, I don't want that to be the case, because it's just bad for the sport, in my opinion. So when you see a lot of people tweeting or posting or talking saying football won, yeah, kind of, because this wasn't that. Like, I'm a guy who watches UFC fights. Some of the stuff was very similar to a UFC event where you would just get, like, you get him on, you grab an opponent on the shoulder and throw him down. You just start pushing him for the sake of pushing him. You'd go for clotheslines. You would just be as physical as you possibly can be, and the moment the contact comes your way, you just, oh, good Lord. Like, it was just disgusting to watch. And it made me sick watching what could be a final game for the greatest player of all time, and this is how he's going out. And even Messi was corrupted with it as well, where you have, during an injury, you have Mark Cucurella, where when I saw the replay, I thought he just was like, I thought he had, like, an itch on his lip. Because, like, the new FIFA rule where you can't, like, cover your mouth when talking to an opponent. It wasn't even like he did this. It was just this. Like, he straight up was, like, when I first saw it, I thought he was itching his lip. And you have, of all players, you have Enzo Fernandez protesting that should be a red card, led by Messi, right? Absolutely just disgusting. This was so unbelievably depressing to watch. A team who I have a lot of respect for Argentina. And for you to do this, are you kidding me? It was infuriating to watch. And now that I'm calmed down a little bit, congratulations to Spain once again. I posted a video yesterday, so if you want to go ahead and check that out, that'd be pretty cool. And actually, while you're there, make sure to go ahead and like, subscribe. It's absolutely crucial to the channel. We are so close to 70 subscribers. It would be absolutely fantastic if we could reach that. But this has been the Scoop with Coop. I'm, of course, Coop, and until next time, so long, everybody.